Welcome, everybody, to the best review you're going to hear on the movie Argylle, coming to theaters Friday, February the 2nd. It's me, Terrell, and we have Cam here as we're going to give you our out of the theater non-spoiler review for Argylle, again, coming for February 2nd. So I'm going to start this off before we get into any details. Cam, what did you think about the movie?
I was surprised, actually. I went in not even really wanting to see this movie, to be honest with you, but
Me neither.
I came out actually very surprised. It was definitely kept you entertained for the whole entire time. And the plot definitely kept you guessing through the whole movie. So honestly, I came out the theater still asking myself questions, which I think is a good thing, you know, making people think. So yeah, it was good. It was a good one. Watch yourself.
Same thoughts. I mean, I had smiles on my face for so many different reasons throughout the movie. One of them being Bryce Dallas Howard and her incredible acting.
Amazing.
She's oh man, she's just a ray of sunshine. I appreciate Bryce Dallas Howard. But yeah, I appreciate the ensemble cast. Like you said, I mean, there's no way that the movie is a spy movie through and through. Like you're just not gonna guess where it's going. And that's one of the things that I really liked about it. Like I said, the ensemble cast itself, going into this blind, not seeing any trailers, not really getting any hints as to where to go. And I didn't even think the trailers, if I did see it, would have gave me any indication of where this movie actually was going. But the entire movie, I think, is just insane. I love the comedy here. This is the type of comedy that I love in this movie, in these type of movies. And like I said, just the action, everything I feel like was well paced. It kept me entertained. But yeah, let's get into this a little bit. Talk about let's get into a IMDb description of what this movie, the plot of this movie, is going to be. So, a reclusive author who writes espionage novels about a secret agent in a global spy syndicate realizes the plot of the new book she's writing starts to mirror real-world events in real time. Yeah,
that is it.
Yeah. So, like I said, we're not doing any spoilers, so like we're not gonna get any details. But the character of Elly, played by Bryce Dallas Howard, she is a writer who is writing spy fiction and is very successful at doing it. And again, like we just said, it starts to mirror that, and I think they did a really good job of showing the spy book world and then like the spy real world kind of meshing together. I really like the characters that are played. We get Henry Cavill, who's playing Argylle. As you see, you know, we have Dua Lipa in the movie. We have my man John Cena, who you can't see him the majority of the movie. Just an incredible freaking cast here. And like I said, we have our cat. What was the cat's name?
Alfie,
who is CGI.
Crazy.
CGI cat Alfie. Some of the stuff they were doing, again, as I said to you earlier, Peter would have not let slide. And that's probably good reason they probably chose
for sure. A lot of danger to that catch for sure. At this point,
talk about the let's start off with just our thoughts on the story. Our thoughts on the story of the movie. I'm gonna let you go into that first. And then
sure. Yeah, I thought it was really good. It was very reminiscent of fandom as far as like Harry Potter franchise is what it reminded me of, even with the color scheme that they were using too. It reminded me of like a Hogwarts theme, but totally storyline completely different from that whole entire franchise as well. I think this one is probably gonna like maybe lead into something more, is what we're thinking in the future, but it was really good all in all. It was kind of hard to at first get a grip of what's going on, and then as we started moving further and more clues started developing in the story, it started all to kind of make more sense while still keeping you guessing at the same time, because once you think that's the end of the plot twist, they throw another one in there to you and you're like oh wait, so wait, who is who? Like, who's doing what here? But no, I think they did an awesome job, honestly, with the plot of this one. It definitely grab the attention, and I think it's going to grab attention a lot of people out there.
The movie screams at you like Dora the Explorer. A clue, a clue.
Yeah, yeah, right, oh yeah, the whole time.
It's right there. But I just want to point out before I give my thoughts on this. Movie is directed by Matthew Vaughn. I don't really have to say more on that. I mean, you kind of know the style of movie you're getting into with him. So I mean, like I said, he did Kick-Ass, X-Men, Kingsman, other movies as well. But you guys, like I said, you already kind of know. We've already seen him do spy movies.
Yeah.
So we kind of got an idea how this movie is going to be directed and the flow of it. Like you said, the story you said keeps you guessing throughout the entire movie. It's a lot of comedy in the movie that I think for a lot of people, I think it's going to be off-putting in the story because people are probably going to be expecting like a really serious spy espionage, and that's not what this movie is at all. There is a lot of, I don't want to use the term lowbrow jokes, but there are some jokes that might go over some people's head, or they might feel some type of way about.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I
can think of a few. I can think of a few that I remember. So yeah,
right. I was laughing the entire way through. I thought that as far as like the story goes, I thought some of it could have been. We probably didn't need a lot of it. I feel like we could have trimmed a little bit story wise. Yeah, but overall, I thought they did a really, really good job. And like I said, I just like the cast. The action of the movie, I feel like this is a Matthew Vaughn film.
For sure.
The action, I feel like they definitely got it right. Like I said, again, we know how this is directed. They did a really good job with the gunplay. They did a really good job with the hand-to-hand stuff. I thought they really did a really good job of like showcasing up close. And this movie is PG-13.
And honestly, I would not to cut you off, but like I would say the vocabulary is very PG-13 as well. It's not very off-putting. There wasn't a lot of cussing in it. I mean, there were a few that were dropped, and I was like, "Oh, okay." But maybe you're only allowed to have one. Like one F-bomb might be okay, and we can keep it PG-13. Though is what I thought.
Now, would you like I said, like Sam Rockwell is majority of the star of the show. Yeah, for sure. There was some scenes like in the act, like in some of the action stuff where they were using CGI, where I was like, man, did they need to use this? Like, but I also feel like the CGI like really plays to the comedy of the movie. As somebody that is a big, I'm a big spy movie guy. Mission Impossible, James Bond, all of those movies that come out. I really feel like it hit a lot of the tropes of the spy movies. Like the evil boss. The monologuing, the torture scenes. Like it hit a lot of that stuff in this movie, and the action I think really hit it out of the park too. I said I really didn't have any issues like as far as like how the action scenes were directed. Like, did anything like the scene? Oh, I mean, obviously without spoiling it, anything that really popped out to you? He was like, "Man, this is really good." Or
I think the one thing that you just hit on that gave you like reminiscence of like Goldfinger or GoldenEye is having like a evil villain's like laboratory. But it's like very, very like tranquil, and then all of a sudden you got all these like computers that just pop out of nowhere, right. And it seemed like everybody's little setup was kind of like that in this film that was like a higher boss. But yeah, I think the setup and the set was actually done really, really well to kind of just bring this whole picture together. And I mean, of course, it does several different locations that we saw. I think we saw Greece, we saw London. Was the United States in there?
They had to be. I mean, that's
like it had to be because I mean she's from the U.S. But I mean it was like Amtrak is what we saw. The only thing I remember was like Amtrak, so I was like, oh, shout out to them.
They definitely paid for that plug.
100%. But I mean they just did such a great job with a lot of the fight scenes, like you said, very reminiscent of Kick-Ass and other Matthew Vaughn films for sure. But there's one scene in there that they did, and we won't give it away, but there's a lot of flying colors, and the way they kind of just brought it all together looks really, really good though. So
definitely like I said, as soon as I saw that scene, I was like, oh, this is a Matthew.
Yeah, 100%.
and just a lot of like the slow motion stuff that you saw in like a lot of his previous stuff, like in the middle of fight scenes. You get a lot of that here too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, they did a really, really good job there. Cast. I mean, star power alone, this movie would have brought me in the theater.
Yeah, for sure.
Anybody here that particularly stood out to you, like as far as like the casting or like as far as like their role in this movie?
I mean, when I initially saw the poster, I'm like, hey, Superman's in it, right? Or
Hey,
former Superman's in it, right? I'm like, uh-oh, like I gotta watch this. But I was surprised. Bryce's role, she did such a great job, honestly. And honestly, Dua Lipa is on the poster, but you really don't see her that much, you know, like she's like just a little bit. So if you're going for Dua Lipa,
probably for good reason. I mean, her acting is a little huge. It's already like a silly spy movie, but
right.
Just kind of like, all right, pretty face, cool. Let's keep it moving, right? Like, don't get me wrong, I didn't hate her in the movie. She wasn't.
No, not at all. I don't think she did a bad job at all, honestly.
Right.
But yeah, and of course Samuel Jackson. You see Samuel Jackson on the poster, you're like, oh, I gotta check this out. If he's invested into it, it must be probably something good, because I haven't seen, except for Black Snake Moan. Oh boy, you know what? Let's not talk about that. But that was the only one that I'd be like, man, this is kind of a bad choice.
Like he really needed this check, man. He tried to keep that IMDb filmography going up. Because I think he for sure, like he's done over 200 movies.
Oh, at least, yeah, at least.
I mean, how many straight to DVD or like whatever stuff that we probably don't even know about. I mean,
it can't be much, honestly. That probably was one, but it's crazy.
Like I said, despite the impressive cast here, Bryce Dallas Howard and Sam Rockwell definitely are the standout to this movie. I mean, they're the stars of the movie. Sam, like I said, I've always been a big Sam Rockwell fan, man. He's definitely an underappreciated actor that I think needs to get more flowers, man, because he can do so many tones of acting. He's like so diverse. And I'm definitely seeing him do like an action role, which I mean we've seen him do before, but you know, definitely see him in this role. I really appreciate it. I mean, I was actually buying that this man could be a super spy.
I mean, he made it believable enough, honestly, because he plays both sides of the fence so well. I think because we're used to seeing him in villain roles and kind of as a hero role, some maybe once or twice, but this was the complete reversal, you know. So it's like, man, I want to believe Sam's good, but is he? Like, I don't, you're always asking yourself the question in the back of your head because you're so used to seeing him in the villainous roles at this point.
Look, I'm gonna come out and say it, man. I'm gonna come out and say it. Look, Bryce Dallas Howard was looking good in the movie. Like, it had me glued to my seat. I mean, despite her acting, she did her thing. But I don't think I've ever liked Bryce Dallas Howard this much until this movie. And for those fans, you're gonna see what I'm talking about. You're gonna see it. Leave you with a surprise. Like, man, like she does a couple of costume changes in the movie, and I think like I said, you guys really gonna appreciate it. But like she really brings not just her overall look in the movie, but she does a really good comedic sense in the comedic timing, comedic sense in the movie as well. I think she definitely brought some funny to some scenes where she was really selling it. And again, I really haven't seen her in too many comedy roles because usually she does like a lot of drama stuff, like big, serious drama or whatever. But I think she did a really good job of bringing the comedy. I think a lot of the actors in this movie that are known for more serious roles did a really good job of really bringing this action comedy. It's basically it's action comedy. It's an action comedy movie. But like seeing them out of their element doing this, I think that was pretty good job of like how the director is with this movie.
For sure.
Next category, the music of the movie. I cannot talk about the music because Matthew Vaughn does a really good job of mixing music with his action scenes. And he does that the same way. I think that the choice of music in this movie was definitely really good. I don't know. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it definitely was. Everything that, I mean, honestly, most of the music kind of came in, or it was so subtle that a lot of the music that he had in the scenes where they were talking was honestly just blending in with the conversation. So it just sounded perfect altogether. So it kind of, you didn't ignore the music, but at the same time, you were still able to understand the conversation without getting distracted, which I thought was good. And of course, he did such a great job putting them together with those fight scenes as well. You know, when there were high tense moments to more poetic ballet type, you know, fight scenes in there, then, you know, that's exactly what was necessary. So I thought he did such a great job with that, though. It sounded really good.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, pretty much the majority of his movies, I love the soundtracks too, especially like the what was that, the first Kingsman movie. The soundtrack for that is really, really good.
Yeah,
I would. Yeah, so like I said, I mean, just expect more of that, the good that music here. But yeah, like I said, I mean, this felt like a movie that if I feel like they could have pushed it rated R, but they didn't want to. They probably didn't want to lose the audience for certain people, because like I said, I mean, it's definitely bodies dropping in this movie, and like,
for sure.
There's some very artistic kills, which I really appreciate. Yeah. But yeah, overall the movie was just enjoyable, man. It's nice to go to the movies and just, you know, not thinking about them like, you know, I don't want to say comic book whatever, but like just enjoying a movie. You know what I mean? Like I definitely would have paid for this. Had we not done a screener, I definitely would have paid this. This was definitely worth the watch. Overall, I mean, I definitely enjoyed the movie. The cast was amazing. Like every single category, I think it hit to a T. If I had to, well, I don't even want to grade it. Like, if we had to grade this, what would you give this? I ain't even about to go as high. Let's just say out of 5.
Out of 5. Oh God, it's harder out of 5 than out of 10 for some reason. I don't know why. I give it a 4 point. I give it a 4. Honestly, it was good. It was really good. So, and I think there's going to be a lot of people that, like me, that were skeptical looking at the poster and now going in and seeing it and just realizing, like you said, that it's just a fun time to watch this movie. Like, you don't have to connect any dots. I don't have to think about, oh, this movie's connected to this. You just watch this as a standalone and you're like, wow, this was good. This was good time.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, I would agree with you on that too. Like I said, I definitely had a good time. I think there is going to be people that gonna think it's maybe a little too silly, and maybe deduct some points. Maybe this is, you know, but like I said, I enjoyed it. Like I said, this when we got in here, probably gonna be the first review that you hear that's gonna give this a lot of positive praise. Because like I said, there are some moments in the movie like, all right, it's a little much,
it's a little over the top. You're like, hold on now.
Once you realize the movie that you're into, you're like, oh, okay, everything else just seems regular at that point. Right, it all fits. One of the taglines of the movie is, the greater the spy, the bigger the lie. And like we said, this movie is really hard to kind of point down where it's going, and it's so many twists and turns as it should be as a spy movie, that you're like, okay, what's going on? So just like I said, just pay attention to the clues, see what's going on. Definitely stay for after the credits, because there is an after credit scene of this movie that's really gonna make a lot more what's the word I want to use?
I don't know. Make a lot more sense. Is gonna be.
I don't want to say
because I don't know if it will. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I saw it and I'm still like,
It definitely brought more questions than answers.
I guess it would. It'll connect some dots, I guess, for a lot of people.
Right. So just into
something else. Yeah.
Make sure you stay for after the movie when you see this. But on that note, like I said, we liked it. I definitely want to see it again. I had a fun time. Like I said, I love the cast. Everything about this was great. And I need more Bryce Dallas Howard in my movies.
There you go.
And on that note, we're going to see you guys next time for another review. Please leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought below. And we do respond to them. So, let us know. Anything you need to see, Cam?
Go check out Argylle.
February 2nd in theaters. And we're out.